Coriolanus Journal. Entry 1. I awoke in my camp across the shallows from the foot of the fiery volcano, with which the great Stygian abyss is contained. I've elected to begin with a fresh, new journal due to the importance of the work we are about to carry out. The year is 173 on the Britannian calendar, a year which will certainly be one for the record books. To think that His Wonderful Majesty Lord British has granted the great Sir Cabrius permission to found a new town of virtue on the Isle of the Avatar. This new colony is to become our utopia, and not just any utopia, but a fortress of the 8 virtues, built within the most evil place possible. And indeed, it will be constructed by yours truly, Coriolanus, Master Builder. I had decided to pack up my bedroll and my camp, and take flight over the shallows with my fishing pole. The birds of the jungle had been singing gracefully throughout the morning, which, much to my delight, was proving to be especially calming. Those who heed the good Sir Cabrius's call will be arriving on the morrow, bringing with them the various supplies for which we will be founding our new settlement within the grand halls of the abyss. How interesting to think that even a group of gargoyles has heeded the call of virtue, or perhaps it's more interesting to note that it was Sir Cabrius himself who sent them the invitation. For me, this is my one true opportunity of a lifetime, a real chance to devote myself to the virtues alongside any number of my favorite companions. This strange magic carpet I found laying in the forest some time ago allowed me to arrive beforehand, to get started with my work inside the mountain as quickly as possible before the others arrive. Yes, it seems as though we all have our work cut out for us. I can't help but to feel joyful for those flies on the walls which will be undoubtedly watching us build our brand new home inside that dank underworld pit. But there is something else. Well, the mountain burns on the horizon. Its shadow leaves me reaching for the hood of my robe. Its chill carried to me on a wisp of wind which should otherwise be temperate, at the very least, I should think. Just then, the light of the new day distracted me, and for a moment I turned my gaze toward the heavens. It was the beautiful Britannian sun. I'd been glad to note that the red tint of the sky had dissolved into a healthy blue at last. The furious morning skies were likely indicative of rough seas ahead for the settlers who were traveling by ship to get here. I do hope they arrive safely and without issue.
Sire, I am Coriolanus, the Master Builder. From the look of things, you must be Sir Cabrius. Indeed. And I must correct you, as the proper pronunciation is Cabrius. But fear not, there is no offense. It is, in fact, quite common of a mistake. I'm merely pointing it out for the sake of honesty. Most gracious of you, Sir Cabrius. I trust your journey over the sea went well? Nay, unfortunately not. Although everyone survived, the waves were quite high, and we lost a little bit of cargo.
Alright, so that was the first lore video and a sneak peek at next week's video to go alongside of it. Hail to all and to all well met. I am Coriolanus, Sir Cabrius's Master Builder. I really have to say that for pretty much the last 2 decades I've been pronouncing it as Cabrius. I didn't see the I was before the R on that one. And it's not even the most egregious example of that I have from my childhood, as for mispronouncing game characters' names. Final Fantasy II, I used to call Cecil, and I still do to this day. So, alright, so that's the first lore video for the Shard, and today I kind of wanted to talk about how the Shard interacts with the timeline from the Ultima Universe, as well as how the Shard interacts with Earth time. So, to begin, I'll show you the timeline of the Ultima Universe, and that is this. So, the Shard starts out at 173 on the Britannian calendar. Sir Arthur Cabarrus obtains permission from Lord British and founds a new town of virtue on the Isle of the Avatar. That's where we're at right here in Centrid, and this is the entrance to the Abyss. As per the next episode, Sir Cabarrus and his followers are going to arrive at the Abyss. So, without further ado, I'll go into the timeline, and we'll talk about how open beta will start in the year 178 on the Britannian calendar, and that is when the colony is finally well established. And so, what will basically take place is the storyline is going to go through what happens with the colony, which is an ill-fated colony which was dedicated to the virtues in the dankest dungeon possible. And that goes on for about 30 years in the calendar until eventually Sir Cabarrus dies in the Abyss. And the lore will kind of go into how that happens and some other interesting things. And at this time, now when Sir Cabarrus dies in the lore, that's when the Shard is going to launch. And it's going to launch just with Ultima Underworld, the 8 levels, and the Ethereal Void at the end of that. So, basically, players are going to be locked in when Baron Ulrich II now seals the doors to the Stygian Abyss. And the players are basically prisoners, which just get locked in just like the Avatar does, which actually happens in the year 270 on the Britannian calendar. And so, players are going to start playing in 210, and then in 270 there's going to be an event where the Avatar actually shows up, and he's going to be an NPC that asks the players to do this or that for him to help him with his quest. And at the end of the game, if you haven't played, it's kind of a spoiler. I'm really not going to count anything that's in the Ultima lore as a spoiler, because the story is actually going to go into, what happened behind the scenes, but based on that lore, with, I hope 100% accuracy. So, the Avatar is going to roll through the Stygian Abyss, and he's going to do his thing, and then the volcano is going to erupt, and spew lava everywhere, and destroy Baron Ulrich's settlement outside of the Abyss, which Lord British made sure that they set up to communicate with the colony in the Abyss. So, at that time, that's when the Ultima 7 map is players are going to be able to leave the Abyss finally and enter the Ultima 7 map. And thus the full Shard will be open. I'm hoping maybe this winter around Christmas, but that's really going to be pretty early probably. We're probably looking at early next year for that. So there will be about a good 3/4 of a year of underworld fun. So that's that. Oh, my voice has echoes, I'm finding. Okay. Not sure why that is, but hopefully that helps. Maybe I can turn my mic down a little bit here too. I had to turn my mic up from the last video because it was way down. So hopefully that helps. Alright, and then eventually what's going to happen in the lore is there will be 361 is when Ultima 7 begins. So really, there will be a lot of time for telling a story about Ultima 7 as well. And then there will be there will be a Ultima Underworld 2, the Labyrinth of Worlds, will open up in a future expansion as well. So without further ado on that, let's get into the map. I'll show you what I've been working on here. So this is the Underworld, level 1. And as you can see, it's mostly unpolished at this point in time. I'll show you a little picture about what it looks like. And you can see it's pretty much dead on accurate with the Ultima Underworld actual map from the game. So to move it from 3D to 2D, there's a couple of little things. There's also a couple of tiles that are missing that Ultima Online doesn't have that are in Underworld. So that kind of makes a difference. But once the layout is complete, I kind of will push and pull everything to its correct Z-axis. And you can see how it gets all pushed and pulled. Alright, so there's going to be, in this game, we're going to have it so that Dex fighters, town fighters, can have a jump command, which is like teleport, but it works based on stamina. Because there's a lot of platforming in Underworld where you have to jump, and so there's just a lot of it, right? So we're going to have to do that. You can see this kind of cool Ankh area. And yeah, what I'm really going for is just accuracy on the map. Here you can see where there's usually a crystal ball for the avatar to look through to see the ethereal void. So that'll be there, and I'm kind of new with Centered, so it's kind of a new thing for me, but it's going pretty well. Underworld fans are going to notice this area is a little bit different than the 3D environment. I'm probably going to throw a couple daemons here. This is just the first level, so they'll probably be the hardest thing on this level. Right here is where Corianus' grave actually is, and for those of you who don't know who Corianus is, he's basically this guy. There's no real other information on him except for that he was Sir Kabyrus' master builder, and long he toiled to rework the Abyss into a home fit for the coming of Kabyrus colonists. Tragedy did strike before his task was done, when a stone block fell upon his head. And so that's really all we know about him. But of course he's the guy who kind of built the colony into the dungeon. So one interesting place is this area right outside the grave, where Underworld fans will notice that there is these platforms, and there's some platforms that usually go around here that are missing, which are connected to some switches, and when you push the switches, it actually raises or lowers these platforms so that you can teleport up. And then there's a nice juicy treasure chest in here, so that'll be interesting. Again, mostly unpolished, a lot of these areas. This is where the green goblins are at, and you can see here's one difference in the 3D conversion. So one thing about Centered is that you can color statics, which are floor tiles, but you can't do terrain tiles with color. So I wasn't able to really make a nice ascending platform, which is what this usually looks like in Ultima Underworld. Instead, I put a staircase in the middle of that, so that's a little bit different. But other than that, I think the feel is there. Like this area in particular right here is a good spot where you can kind of see that the similarities in the actual game to the conversion here. One thing I'm particularly proud of is these fish. I kind of imagine that this water in this volcanic environment is actually Fiji water, really, because it's a tropical island inside of a volcano. I'm thinking this water is going to be pretty nice and clear, right? I put some tropical fish in, and when I did, I actually put them underneath the translucent tiles, and I shaded them a gray color so they look like they're a little bit deeper. And then I put these bubbles are actually sparkles, which I colored with ice hue. And when you do that, the outside of the sparkle gets kind of illuminated, and it looks like bubbles. So I put those in there too. I think that's pretty cool. And you can walk in there just like in the Underworld. That's one thing that you really couldn't do on Ultima Online. their actual Stygian Abyss expansion. You couldn't really do that. And I felt like this was something that... oh, okay. I guess I'm still having some audio issues. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I hope it's not too annoying. It's very strong, they're saying, so, let me just see what I can do here. How's that? Let me know if that fixes it. I think I might have just fixed the problem. It really sucks that that happened for 17 minutes. Sorry about that. I'll just continue on, though. I'm just going to soldier on this. Is that much better? Yeah, okay, right on. I figured out what I did wrong there. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, well, yeah, we'll just keep going, I guess. Not sure if you guys can hear the music anymore on this one. I'll turn it up a little bit. There we go. All right, right on. Very cool. Okay, so I hope you guys are enjoying at least looking at this map. Besides the echoes, which, you know, scared a few people away probably, but anyways, all right. So this is centered, and as I was saying, I'm kind of new to centered, so I've been having a really good time. I really think that the Underworld level 1 is a beautiful map. You know, you have to kind of jump across here to get up there, and there's a doorway. A lot of the doorways are missing right now. I wanted to show you what I did for secret doors now. I noticed earlier that you can kind of see this black stairway here. It's not a stairway, I guess it's just kind of a bridge. But you can kind of see it, so... okay. I'm getting more info on the music now being too loud. Okay, I'm going to turn it down right now. Alright, I hope that's alright. Those midis, they really blast really loud, so that's part of it. But, okay, so this is where the silver sapling is. And, of course, there's a secret door right here. It's no real secret. Not anymore, at least. But, once the doors are in there, you'll be able to use those to get across. And, that's interesting. Okay, I had a question here from Dr. Vox. I just wanted to address it. Are there plans to explain where the goblins came from, i.e., they came over from Serpent Isle and just kind of got roped into it? I think what actually happens with the goblins in Ultima lore is that they get chased. They're like an abomination that some wizard created or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I guess they get driven underground, really. And I'm pretty sure that that's where these goblins came from. I don't think that they came with Sir Arthur Cabirus's colonists. But I'm pretty sure that they were already in the Abyss, so that's probably why they got chased there. And of course, there's green and there's gray goblins, and they have some bad interactions. Except for, well, Cabirus is there because he's really a pillar of the virtues, and he comes to the Abyss and he gets all the lesser creatures that are subterranean that live there, and gets them to follow the virtues. And he comes with some mages, which bring create food spell and light spell, and that's kind of his tool that he uses to convince all these creatures to come together and behave themselves. And that's all going to come out in the lore video. You'll get to see how all that shapes out, so that's going to be cool. This is a little bit more of a polished area. You can see I got these stalagmites here. Are they stalagmites or stalactites? They're stalagmites. Stalactites go off the roof, but of course in 2D, there isn't really any, so, because there's no roof. Alright, so there's that. Now, once, like I said, once the avatar comes through here, then the whole place is going to erupt, and everyone's going to be able to go out to the Ultima 7 map. And that's hopefully, like I said, late winter or early next year. As you noticed in the video, we've got flying carpets. So one thing that I've been working on is a cloud layer map. And this map, let me take you over there. It's kind of cool. So when you fly your magic carpet up to regular Z-axis, you're going to go to this cloud layer map. And it's kind of cool. I've been kind of designing it a little bit with my meager centered knowledge. This is a floating continent, which goes on the cloud layer map, and in the future there will be ones where you can place houses on it, when you fly up to this map and then go ahead a little bit and fly down, you'll gain some ground because this map is smaller than the main map. And as you can see, it's just above where the regular map ends. Now there's just a teleporting boundary there that goes up. Pretty revolutionary. I think it's cool. I'm going to enjoy making this map a lot. Like, I think this is pretty hilarious. But you can actually go up even further from the cloud layer map, and you'll enter the Shardosphere, the Shard Stratosphere. I put a dual pit up here. You can disembark your carpet right here on this red rug that comes up to the main area for the dual pit. And this will be in the open beta. You'll be able to play on this. This whole thing is like a floating continent. It's all made out of statics, and it just hovers up and down, one and then one, and it's kind of on a randomized timer, so it never interferes with the character movement, because you're always within one z-axis level of where you were as it moved. So this really doesn't mess you up. And for nervous duelers, which is me and basically everyone I know, I added this little hot tub at the duel pits for duelers to dip their hands into, their sweaty palms, in between matches. I recommend strongly that you do that for 20 seconds, even if you're good, because it'll help. Probably 10 to 15% better at PvP if you do that. And there's a little finger massage table for your fingers right here as well. And like I say, that'll increase your performance statistics by at least 10 to 15%. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little map and this little tour of the Shard. There will be a future live stream with beta opening, so hopefully there will be open beta in a few weeks, maybe a month. Players will go into the Abyss, level 1 and level 2, and there will be some quests. I'm hoping that we can tie in some beta rewards points for players that finish these quests, because the quests will basically make them do whatever we need tested, right? And there's also going to be Ultima lore related trivia in the Discord, so I'm just going to link that Discord right now. And if you haven't joined already, you should join that, and then I'll be able to dish you out some points for when we actually do launch. The Underworld launch is probably going to be in about 3 to 4 months, so there'll be beta for a little while before that. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you there, and I think it's going to be a good time. So here's that Discord link. I'm just going to answer a couple questions, actually, because there's some questions here. Really sorry for those audio problems, by the way. There's some interesting information here from Dr. Vox. Thank you. I'll take a look into that. Speaking of platforms, in a starry field, will the Shrine of Spirituality be in the proper place? That's a good question. I'm not quite sure about that. I guess we'll see how it all shapes out. The one thing that'll be interesting, I think, is where the Labyrinth of Worlds, the first level is Lord British's castle, really, which is above ground. But in the lore for Ultima Underworld 2, the whole thing is encased by black rock because of the Guardian, right? And so, really, that's above ground, right? So how am I going to make that work with the Ultima 7 map yet? I'm not quite sure. There might be a little bit of freehand there. So that'll be interesting. Anyways, thanks so much for watching the stream. And yeah, I hope to see you there. And hope to see you in the Discord. We will be doing a trivia later today for some of those beta points. All right, cheers.